Hi, everybody. My name's Marcus Fernandez, and I'd like to welcome you here today to today's webinar on 5G, the health effects of 5G radiation by Dr. Robin Murphy, ND. Some of you are very familiar with Robin and Robin's work, and some of you who don't know Robin, Robin is a naturopathic and homeopathic physician who's been teaching and practicing homeopathy now and natural medicine and Qigong for over 45 years. Dr. Murphy is an international recognized author, researcher and lecturer on homeopathy, herbal medicine and medical Qigong. He's also the author of the Meta Repertory and Nature's Materia Medica. So I'd like to welcome you, Robin.
Thank you, Marcus. It's my pleasure to talk on this subject today.
That's great. I know it's something that is very, very close to your heart. I know we're getting different people from around the world joining us. So if you just want to put in the chat box on the right-hand side on the GoToWebinar control panel, just tell us where you are, where you're joining us from around the world. It's always interesting to see, because that's the beauty of using this technology, that we can spread this information far and wide around the world. So we've got Fernando, he's saying good day from Mexico. We got Richard. Hi, Richard from Canada. We got Kenya as well. Kenya, whereabouts are you calling from, Kenya? It'd be great to see where you are. Oh, we got Avis from New York. We've got Helen from London, Ealing. Hi, Helen. We've got Leah from Santa Fe. I think you used to live there, Robin, didn't you, in Santa Fe?
Yes, for 10 years.
10 years. Yeah, 10 years. Kenya from Michigan. Quebec, Richard. Yeah. We got Sabine from North Southwest Australia. Wow. Must be very early in the morning there, I think, or very late in the evening. I can't quite figure out what the time zone is there. So Robin, just before we start, can you just sort of tell us, why 5G? And you've talked about this a lot because we've spoken a lot about it.
Yes, we did a webinar that's in the CHE library in 2016 on effects of electromagnetic radiation on health, and that was even before the 5G was even talked about. But we find that a lot of the media and the telecom companies are calling, these hazardous and health effects of conspiracy theory. And I just want to let people know the real conspiracy theory is that they're hiding the scientific evidence. So I'm going to present a lot of, to educate people, a lot of the scientific evidence about the 3G and 5G and how it affects our health acutely and chronically. And it's not just that, but we have to have some solutions in that. So we'll get into some detail on this.
Because like I said, you've been talking about electromagnetic issues for a long time, since way back when we did a webinar in 2016. Yeah. So even before 5G was even, mentioned, wasn't it, or even probably thought about? And I know, especially here in the UK, they're rolling out 5G everywhere. So there's a national rollout. It's been supported by the government. And I was listening to a talking show on the BBC, and they had a minister on there who said, no, there's absolutely no issues around health whatsoever. But we know that not to be true, Robin.
Yes, we'll actually look into that and how they do the testing and research. And you'll see industry research versus non-industry research comes up with opposite effects. So people, nonprofit organizations that have no vested interest in doing the research come up with a totally different research on the health effects than the business. Okay, the business people, they see billions and billions of dollars or pounds of profit coming in that. So the real conspiracy is that, is the money, to make money off of this. They have rolled it out without any real testing of the long-term effects. And it's just not people, it's also plants, insects, our pets, animals, it's everything. It affects, and from satellites, so the whole earth will be affected by this.
And some countries as well are banned it, haven't they, the 5G, or not banned it, but not actually going to roll it out?
Yeah, Brussels and one province in Switzerland also are putting moratoriums on it. But not much else that I found. Wherever a local government fights it, they really get put down on it as, radical conspiracy people don't know what they're talking about. And we go right to the universities and the foundations and what research has been done. And this research has been done even on 4G and its health effects. And this 5G is, 10 times, some people say 100 times more powerful than that, as you'll see
Yeah,
coming up.
I think it was Sweden. I'm sure Sweden hasn't Sweden sort of banned it until there's more research. Actually, I think we've got Pia from Sweden. Hi Pia. Sorry, all these people keep sending the messages in. Sherry from Canada, Alex from Germany. Somebody saying hi, Robin. It's Debbie Rose from PA, Pennsylvania. Okay, yeah. Liam from Ireland. We've got good evening from London. Chuck from the Bay Area. Victoria from Los Angeles. Yeah,
Correct.
people. Lee from the UK. So yeah, people from all over, and Maya from Ireland. So Robin, I'm personally really looking forward to tonight, and I know a lot of people are. So without further ado, let's start.
Okay, so first thing I'll say is that we also have 2 recorded webinars that we'll talk about at the end of this, because this 1 hour webinar is just introduction to this whole subject. So we even get in more detail. Okay, so let's get started here. Let me hit my slide. And here's some of our topics here. Introduction of bioenergetic medicine and human bioelectricity. Why am I talking about that? Well, because this is what 5G, electromagnetic radiation, microwave radiation, radio wave, dirty electricity, there's all these different terms for it, different versions of it, affect our nervous system and our energy fields. There's research. Well, next topics we'll get into the research, not alternative medicine talking, not homeopaths talking. This is straight university studies and from nonprofit foundations. Even the United Nations has studies in that. Then we get into the acute and chronic health effects of EMFs, toxicity, and hypersensitivity. And at the end, we'll sum it up of some of the solutions that we've come up with. So, without, giving all this bad news, without giving some solutions are kind of mute. So I'm into the solutions in that. And we have 2 more webinars just on solutions. Okay. You'll see down here that there was a 5G crisis. There was a National Day of Action, May 15th in 2019 and that. And you'll see my sticker, Stop 5G. So bioenergetic medicine is the scientific study of interaction between living organisms, electromagnetic field forces, energy currents, and charges in our environment. Okay, it's the biology of how we transfer. We eat food to harvest electrons and ATP molecules to generate energy that activates our nervous system, that moves our blood, and that. So really the energy, mental, emotional, and physical energy blockages is really the cause behind all diseases. If you have blocked blood flow or electron flow in the lungs, they call it asthma, emphysema. If it's in the brain, they call it Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. If it's in your knee, they call it arthritis. There's 13,000 diseases out there now. And it's really a commodity business. They have people investing in different diseases and drugs and medication. But it comes down, as in Chinese medicine says, there's a blockage somewhere. Depression, grief, the head injuries, they have all blocked some electron flow, blood flow, or energy flow in the body. Okay. So bioenergetic medicine integrates homeopathy, Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic, and also looks at modern biology and ancient science with no prejudice, as Samuel Hahnemann has taught us, to perceive without prejudice. Okay, so we look at health through biological point of view. It's a whole different way of looking at health versus biochemical, anatomical, or physiological. What about biological? Okay, how we're created and built in this. Health, wellness, and longevity are all dependent on these energy flows. Okay, as acupuncture, qigong, and all these things teach us. Okay, disease and disorder, as I mentioned, it's comes some disruption, imbalance, or actual blockage. Okay, wherever you feel pain, you got blocked electrons, blocked blood flow, and all this stuff. So we give homeopathic remedies, acupuncture, qigong treatments, diet, nutrition to undo these blockages. Okay. So these are kind of the things I integrate and call bioenergetic medicine, especially for this topic. Okay, you have homeopathic remedies. that have been potentized that affect our electromagnetic field and our vital force. Traditional Chinese medicine, the herbs, Qigong practice. You'll see in one of the webinars, I go into that in detail because that actually strengthens our energy fields and nervous system. Nutritional supplements, herbs, superfoods, electromagnetic, using energy against energy, detoxing yourself, physical things, Ayurvedic oils and tonics and diet and things. So all these can be integrated with bioenergetic medicine, or the concept of it. So looking at life biologically, we see the ancients were correct that there were 4 basic elements, and some say 5. And carbon makes up 18%. I believe this is by atomic weight. Oxygen, 65% of your body. Hydrogen, 10%. Nitrogen, 3%. Some say 96%, 98% of all biological matter is just these 4 elements. So when we get disruptions in these 4 elements, you're going to have all kinds of health problems, as you see coming up. Okay, and the 5th element is our activity and movement, and these things kind of integrates all of them. So very interesting concept. The ancients and the modern chemistry agree in that air is oxygen, carbon is earth, hydrogen is water, and nitrogen is fire. It's also the 4 seasons, and it's a really universal system of looking at healthcare and life on earth. Here's just another way of looking at it. And you see by atomic weight how much oxygen is. And that's why oxygen is our number 1 thing that we need to live. Okay, everything else, all the other molecules, proteins, enzymes, all this biochemistry people are looking at is only 4% of our human body and our biochemistry. So 90% of people are looking at these. Okay. Now the hierarchy of life. This is what we learned from Herring and homeopathy. How you know how important something is, you take it away and you see what happens. So the most important thing in life is inspiration and expiration. Okay. Some people are saying 70% of our daily detox is through eliminating carbon dioxide through our breath. You take away your air, you only have minutes to live. It's the most important thing. So oxygenation of the body is a universal treatment for no matter what the disease is. Okay. Next is water, and drinking water and urinating, and that is the second most important thing. And I have to say one thing real quickly, that I'm 1000% against all this drinking of water. Over drinking of water is the same as overeating. Walking around with liters of water and all this and constantly sipping on it all day because someone told you you need so many liters or 8 glasses of water a day, whether you're a child or a construction worker or out in the hot sun or wintertime, it's absolutely insane. Over drinking is a disease that has plagued everybody. You know you're over drinking if you have to wake up in the middle of the night to urinate. Okay, that's a big disruption of growth hormone, melatonin, and your whole sleep-wake cycle. So people need to stop thinking. All the doctors, all the sports people, and all the marketing is telling people to drink all this water, and that's a disease. Okay, so some people will be shocked to hear that. But all my cases and patients, I tell them to stop drinking so much water. Okay, and now the doctor is saying when you're thirsty, that means you're already dehydrated. So that means when you're hungry, you're already starving. It's insane. Okay, so overworking the kidneys constantly all day and sipping and drinking water, the kidneys never get a break. The yogis teach us and the qigong teachers teach us that drinking water should be a meal. Okay, you drink a glass of water, 2 glasses of water, and as a meal. You just don't keep drinking all day or snacking food all day. Then the body will process that and go on to the next water meal. Okay. The third most important, so water, you can live, only days without water. I know in my 20s I tried it. I got to the 5th or 6th day I was bedridden. So I tried to experiment. I used to do a lot of fasting. So water is important, and that's your hydration. So oxygenation, hydration, no matter what the disease is, if we hit these primordial elements and that, we can support the whole constitution. The third most important thing, which hardly no one recognizes, is sleep, not food. You can go weeks without food, literally, you know, a month or longer, easy without food. But sleep, 4 or 5 days, close to water, you're hallucinating, you're fatigued, you know, all the symptoms of jet lag, insomnia. This is a big, big issue. The third most important thing in life is sleep. Okay. So every homeopathic case I take, every naturopathic case I take, I examine thoroughly the sleep patterns. And my goal is to get people to sleep using CBD, using calculus, carcinosin remedies, and coffea, insomnia remedies. Tell people to stop drinking so much or eating late at night. Sleep is so important, as you'll see coming up. It resets the whole system, the whole autonomic nervous system. Fourth most important thing to life is food. And a lot of people, you know, especially naturopaths, nutritionists, this is 99% of their focus is on food and digestion. Okay. The fifth most important thing is movement, activity, and rest. And if you just set a person for still, I mean, you can last for, you know, weeks or months or sometimes meditating years. But to get healthy and generate, we have to move. Okay. And that's circulation, and movement of energy, and movement of blood, and movement of emotions that don't get stuck in the past, and all this stuff. So movement and activity and rest are another thing that really relate a lot to sleep-wake cycles. All these things are affected by electromagnetic radiation. Breathing, kidney function, sleep especially, and digestion and that. So bioenergetics look at the whole human being and from a different perspective. This is modern medicine. In the nervous system, they have the brain controlling the central nervous system, and that controls the peripheral, and then the peripheral is split into two. This is total insanity, total naivete, okay? The somatic nervous system is the one that we control. I can lift my arm, I can walk, autonomic. They have way down here controlling everything else in your body. So bioenergetics and the hierarchy of life, the heart is the ruler of this body. It's the first organ to grow in the embryo, and it runs the autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system gives you consciousness, gives you cognition, awareness. You would never have the brain or any of these things function without the autonomic. It runs all your organs, immune system, everything. Digestion, pH, respiratory rate, heart rate, body temperature, everything is run by that. This is the object of homeopathy. This is our vital force. This is what we're treating. This is the operating system of the human body. Okay, and it needs to be reset with sleep, and it needs to be fed and monitored. It monitors everything on the cellular level and everything. And that awakens the brain, the central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and gives us cognition to walk, eat, play, and choose things in our life. So this is really the biological view of life. Electromagnetic fields disrupt the autonomic nervous system and the constitution in general. And here's just another of it. Here's the heart as the center of the human being, not the brain. You know a person by knowing their heart, not by what they're thinking or saying. Okay, big difference. We have two nervous systems real quick. Most people know this. We have a sympathetic. Chinese have it called yang. It represents the sun, the day, the right side of the body. This is why we have right and left side remedies in homeopathy. It also represents our active side of us. We have the parasympathetic side, which is yin, represents the moon and the night, represents the left side of the body, and rest and digestion. When these things aren't cooperating or in harmony, we get 13,000 different diseases, okay, according to modern medicine, according to commercial medicine, I should say. Okay, the vital force runs the autonomic nervous system, and that runs the human constitution. So all our treatments Everything should be aimed at the autonomic nervous system. It's underlying all diseases, mental, emotional, and physical. And if we take a little step further in that, we see that the human being has a spirit. We say a person gets knocked out, person dies, they pass away. What is it? It's our energy body. It's a duplicate of our physical. This energy body is connected to the heart and to the brain stem, and it gets the heart beating, and all our mental, emotional, physical activity is inside the physical body. Okay? So the vital force is the human spirit. It animates the body via bioelectricity. The human spirit is our energy body. And that, so we just look at biochemistry, we ignoring the person within. Okay, it's a very narrow view of life. So next, now we get right into this energy fields and stuff. So we have a human energy field, and this is what 5G, electromagnetic radiation, is more than just 5G, as you'll see coming up. Everything around us, we're in an ocean of electromagnetic fields and currents and all this stuff, from satellites, from TV, from radio, and everything. This can be demonstrated in any laboratory. There's actually a toy that we're going to do a Q&A, and I think in another 4 weeks. Now I actually show you some stuff live. There's a toy you can buy that they show for children. You touch the two parts of the toy and it will light up from your own bioelectricity. Okay. And Qigong, of course, we know it, we feel it, we help generate it, we help circulate it, and this and that. We are walking, talking bioelectric beings and that. Okay. So you can't see it, but there's an invisible gigantic magnetic field around the Earth, and that's what protects us from solar radiation and cosmic radiation from the stars and background. And also the human beings have electromagnetic field, and it protects us also. Okay, without this field, like Mars and other planets, they have no electromagnetic field, they become wastelands. Okay, because the solar radiation will burn away the oceans, there'll be no life on Earth. And similar with the human being. As Hermes says thousands of years ago, as above, so below. Okay, and that. So that this our electromagnetic field protects us. When we get 5G and electromagnetic radiation hitting us daily, we're surrounded by it, it weakens our field. This is the whole science of susceptibility is right here. And we interact with other people. Okay. I've talked about this in previous webinars. Here's the Earth's electromagnetic field, and here's the human. Okay. If you collapse this, you have multiple allergies, chemical sensitivities. There's a movie called The Bubble Boy, and they had that person played by John Travolta. If you want to watch that movie again, he had no electromagnetic field, so he's allergic to everything. Okay. Now in Qigong, we call it the Wei Qi field. Protects the body from attack by pathogenic factors, bad weather, all our rubrics and stuff in homeopathy. Sensitive to the dampness and Chinese medicine, sensitive to the wind, the cold air, the heat of the sun, the full moon. All these things depend on the strength or weakness of your electromagnetic field. It also, which it's never been researched, and I know, it helps protect us against viruses and bacteria. Okay, all viruses and bacteria, all living beings have electromagnetic field. When ours is stronger, these bacteria and viruses will bounce off. They can't penetrate the field. Also harmful emotions from other people or thoughts and stuff that from our own body and our own thinking and reinforcing negative emotions and habits can weaken our electromagnetic field. And likewise, positive things. You know, meditation, qigong, yoga, these things will strengthen our field and that. So our fields are being bombarded daily. So when this Wei Qi field or electromagnetic field gets weakened, we get colds, allergies, flus, headaches, ringing in the ears, and all the symptoms from electromagnetic toxicity. This is why we have to look at bioenergetics first. Okay? So what generates this field? Your heart. It's amazing. Not your brain. The heart generates electromagnetic field 60 times greater than your brain waves. Okay, and that's a proportion of how important your heart is. And taking heart tonics and foods that promote circulation are premier for general health and longevity. This field can be measured up to 7 feet away. Electromagnetic field changes according to your health, age, and your emotions. Sometimes you even walk in a room and you feel different. And that this is way out, okay, up to 6, 7 feet, okay. And for those people that know homeopathy, I don't want to get too esoteric on you, but here's your layers and timeline, and all these things are right here. All this is a projection from your heartbeat, okay. So this is a projection of your vital force. And right out in our presence, in our atmosphere around us, you stick your arms out, the energy fields around us, we have grief, trauma, anxiety, all these things are in there, in our layers. So that'll be some future webinars we talk about that. So what affects our electromagnetic field? So here we have electromagnetic fields and toxicity. Aging, as we age and our circulation gets weaker, okay, electrons and nerve flow lessens and the field gets weaker. Mental emotional shocks and trauma will weaken it. Post-traumatic stress, depression, all these things, and that all kinds of overwork, lack of sleep, physical traumas, weather, environmental, toxins, bad food, water, weak heart circulation, all these will weaken our field. Diet, toxins, posture, infections, and this is just even the sun, the moon, and the stars all can affect it. So we know these things, we can manage our electromagnetic field. There's no books in medicine on the physiology of this or all of that. There's a Heart Math Institute, people can look up online. They've done a lot of research on this and measuring this, measuring people different emotional states. It's amazing, amazing research, okay? So we see the cell phone, Wi-Fi, appliances, wiring in your house all affect this. Okay, so anything we can do to strengthen our electromagnetic field across the board promotes longevity, wellness, anti-aging, and protects us against not only electromagnetic but also toxins and in our environment and even other people's energy. Okay, we have all these rubrics in homeopathy: sympathy to others, empathy, feeling other people's energy, not touching the person, you feel them from a distance. Okay. So here it is again, from birth to childhood, adolescence, this energy field is created. Okay, and we have different shocks and trauma, and every day we're creating more energy. We actually believe that the memories and stuff are out circulating in our energy field. Why? Because it's a projection from our heart. Okay, so heart tonics rule. Circulation tonics rule. If you get the blood going and the heart healthy, it will help everything. Okay, a lot of people emphasize the brain, but you gotta get blood and oxygen to the brain for that to work. Okay, so it all comes down to the heart. So here's some other concepts real quickly. Unhealthy person, and this is a good concept because you see gaps in the electromagnetic field. And we all know that some people are sensitive to drafts on their neck. In Chinese medicine, we call it the wind gate. Okay, some people are sensitive to knee problems, okay, or hip problems, and all this stuff. And the electromagnetic field is not universally the same. It has it, just like the hurricanes are happening. There's disturbances in the field, and weakness in the field. The field has weak parts and strong parts, and that's when we take a homeopathic case. We're looking at it, we scan and analyze and probe the whole person's being and finding these weak spots in the field. Okay, I believe we're honestly, treating the electromagnetic field, and that treats the body and all this other stuff with homeopathy. A healthy person has a very strong electromagnetic field. They have resistance. There's no books on susceptibility. Why certain people get the flu and other people's don't. It's all explained with bioenergetics. Okay, so you have to take 5-10% of your daily life to keeping this field healthy, whether it's Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, a healthy diet with whole foods, plant-based, and all this stuff. You have to make a conscious effort to keep the field there, or it just gets weakened with age, okay, or exposure to toxins, electromagnetic fields, okay? And you see a process of a healthy person deteriorating and down with various chronic diseases. We don't really care what the disease is. Our goal is to get this energy field healthy and the body can heal itself. So this could be a cancer patient, and chemo and radiation all weaken the person more, and they can go, and then the field dissipates and the person passes away. So heavy stuff. But so let's get right into 5G and all this stuff. And again, everyone's going to say, oh, conspiracy theory. The real conspiracy is hiding the truth, okay? And what the research is actually saying. So 5G cell phone radiation and its health effects, okay? And you see here a picture of somebody with a phone next to their head, and it's red. Now, this is not what you think. This is actually what's wrong with the research, okay? Because when they test the phones, they're only testing one phone, and they're only testing its heat generating in the brain. And if they're convinced that that's okay, then that. They're not testing all the fields around you. If you live in an apartment building, you turn on your mobile phone and you can see 10, 15 different Wi-Fi routers going right through your apartment and this and that. They're not testing the towers. They're not testing the accumulation effect. They're not testing the chronic effects. So we get into some of that. Most of it just be quotes from scientists. Okay, public health warning. Here's the website if you want to go check it out. All wireless devices emit microwave radiation, a known biological hazard, known for years. Every time you use a wireless device, you're exposed to microwave radiation. World Health Organization classifies this as a 2B, possible cancer causing, in the same category as lead, DDT, chloroform, cell phones, and really bad is landlines where you use a cordless phone. Tablets, laptops, smart meters, very bad, as we'll talk about. The more you're around these things, the more radiation you get, okay? So avoidance is one of our biggest solutions in that, knowing how to turn things off and that, and testing your own house and or apartment and where the hot spots are. The worst is having your bed next to some sockets or transformers on the other side of your wall, okay? Scientists link this radiation to diseases, long and short-term, cancer, infertility, DNA damage, damage to fetuses, sleep problems, memory, behavioral, heart problems, and many other. And I'm not gonna list over and over again, but you'll have some reference slides on this. Also, there's a new condition or disease or disorder called electrohypersensitivity. And there's some nonprofit organizations promoting people's awareness. And even low exposures from this can impact people's health and jobs. All these dirty people go to work and get sick, and is it eye strain or is it electromagnetic sensitivity? Is it fibromyalgia? Is it chronic fatigue syndrome? Those are two of the biggest things I've seen in practice as actual electromagnetic sensitivity, okay? And the lack of sleep is a big one there. Government regulations will not protect you, and that telecom companies have all this waivers already written in. Insurance companies and all this will not insure you against this stuff. For decades they've known this. They ignore the current science, even by their own governments, in that linking microwaves to human diseases. Cities like San Francisco tried to stop this. And of course, they suppressed all of it. The FCC, which is a United States Federal Communications Commission, the commissioner, Ajit Patel, was in front of Congress and they asked him directly, does Wi-Fi and 5G has health problems? He said, yes, of course, everything does. And they said, oh, okay. And they passed it. They said, well, anything can have harmful effects. Because he admitted it, he slipped it through. It's shocking. Okay. They didn't say, well, what health effects and get upset. He just nonchalantly said, of course it does, you know. So real quick here, we have electric and magnetic fields, okay, alternating currents and direct currents, TV, radio broadcasts, mobile phones and towers, satellites, and all this, and also sunlight, moonlight, and this is ionizing radiation. They call it radioactive things. Okay, X-rays, flying in airplanes, you're getting X-rays and all this stuff. Is it jet lag from time zones, or is it exposure to electromagnetic radiation and X-rays? Okay, and all around our house, electrical vehicles, computers. Okay, even in nature, they find after storms and all this, certain things happen, and that, and the wiring in our house and some of these things I've talked about before. Okay, it's everywhere. So we can get upset about it, or we can just know what to do about it. Okay, so we go back to our electromagnetic field again and just give you a quick review. 5G cell towers will be the most powerful health effects on our body. All Wi-Fi affects us in that. So what 5G will be emitting a 5G Wi-Fi. Holding the cell phones next to your head. I never put the cell phone to my head. Maybe once a year if I'm in a restaurant and I try to tell people to call me back. But we go through all the protocols there. Use a speakerphone and texting and all this. We'll talk about dirty electricity, which is the wiring in your house. Smart meters, very bad. Smart TVs, appliances, refrigerators, stoves, hot water heaters. The lights, the compact fluorescent lights, LED lights, very bad for you. Known to cause depression and things. And again, X-rays, radiation, microwaves. If you have a microwave oven in your house, throw it out. Just get rid of it. And you eliminated one source of microwaves. Even when it's turned off, it's emitting. There's YouTube videos just showing electrical meters, voltage meters going crazy, just approaching a microwave. And living near power lines, high tension wires, all these things are affecting our electromagnetic fields. And then that goes and affects our autonomic nervous system, and that affects your pH, your digestion, your immune system, respiratory, cognition, brain fog, everything, sleep wake cycles, it's all coming. It hits this first, and nobody's talking about this. Okay, without it, we have no life. Okay, it's like the planets with no field. Okay, so moving right along. So public concern is rising, but I've seen nothing on the TV, nothing on the broadcast. It's so rare because they all receive money and commercial funds on the TV and all that. Radios also. 5G frequency have not been safely tested. They're so eager to get it out, okay, because it's been years since the 4G. I forgot how many years, maybe 8 years or 10 years or something. So this is another professor here, director of Autoimmunity Research Foundation, nonprofit. Allowing this technology to be used without proving its safety is reckless in the extreme. And you'll see many more quotes coming up here. How does it work? I mean, it's built on the 4G, so I assume that means these towers will still stay there too. Then they're having smaller towers all over. I mean, look, they're putting it on palm trees. Okay, so what happens when they see that palm tree die? What are they going to say? Okay, we'll talk about that because plants are affected by it, the insects are affected by it, and the human being, water. 5G is absorbed by water in our body, in the rain, all these things. Okay, they need high power cell towers and that, and they need many of them. We're talking hundreds of thousands of them, right on apartment buildings and light poles. You'll be walking down the street in New York or London, and you'll be walking through these strong energy fields. Okay, it's way stronger than 4G. Basically, it's like high-speed internet wireless now. Okay, and it can only travel short distances. It also has problems with weather interference. That's why they have to have more, and physical obstacles, which is a blessing to us. So it can't go through walls very well. So if you learn to shield a window and all that, you can decrease your exposure a lot, especially if you're in an apartment building. So we have to understand what it is and how it works and all this type of thing. They've got all the countries that have given in to the big telecom companies, and they're going to allow it to put it in your front yard, on apartment buildings, outside your bedroom windows, and all this stuff. So before we get all upset, we just learn how to protect ourselves. And you can never reduce it all, but we can reduce it 70, 80, 90%. Then we can avoid the health effects. Okay, and they're little towers, okay, but very powerful. And that, so people in the big cities are the most affected. Rural areas are safer. Okay, so this is the three different things it would do. These are the improvements, better consumer experience, faster downloads. That's the selling point. That now you can download a movie in 10 seconds, versus, 5 minutes. So we're going to jeopardize our health for that speed and that. It also can run machines and equipment, okay? All kinds of things. And drones and electric cars, non-driving electric cars and stoplights and everything. So if that stuff gets hacked, all this stuff collapses too, okay? So, and they're promoting it for medicine, for doing, what you call Wi-Fi surgery and all this type of stuff. So you hear all the positive stuff. But we believe in science. Wireless radiation is harmful yourself. This is what the science is saying. We believe in science. LOL, laughing out loud. Okay, I do believe in science, but not in commercial science. As you'll see, there's two types of science. There's science and there's commercial science. And 90% of the science out there is commercial science. Every time they put a drug on the market, that's commercial science. Okay, that's not science, because you don't, put a drug on the market for what you think it's good for. You list all the problems with it. If 90% of the side effects are worse than the 10% of the benefits, that's commercial science. And that they said the last flu shot last year was 25% effective, and they still, were promoting it. So here's a big thing. Anyone talks about we're conspiracy theorists, just show them this graph, okay? And here's the link. So I've added a lot of the links so you can look at it there. Non-industry studies show that 70% of all the research shows harmful effect from 5G and even 4G. 30% of the research shows no effect. And again, was it a cumulative effect? Was it multiple signals? What was it all? Okay. 32% of the industry studies showed harmful effect. 68%. Totally opposite. But do the math. If there's 100 million people taking it, 33 million people, according to industry, we're going to have health problems. The United States is 300 million, okay? So we multiply that, and 100 million people will be affected by 5G. And they admit it, okay? But the majority aren't affected. And you look over here, it's the opposite. Of 100 million, 70 million would be affected. And then you triple that, and that's 210 million people in the United States will be affected, more or less, depending on their diet, their exercise, state of their immune system, and their own electromagnetic fields to protect themselves. Okay, even this is shocking, very shocking. So either one of these are not acceptable. And here's a more detailed thing to quickly go through this research. The blue lines show harmful effect. 919 studies, 593 show the impact on health. 130 showed no impact. Again, it could be research design. And 196 neutral. And then you break it down to birds, migration, and all this stuff. Bees, the biggest effect of all is on bees and plants. Okay, we'll talk a little about that. Human beings, okay, 60, 70% of the people. Other animals and wildlife and all this stuff, and the total here. Okay. And we sent out to everybody this video. Here's a link if you haven't watched it already. This is a medical doctor saying shocking news, testifying before Congress. They gave her 5 minutes to testify. So I just quickly go there. Clear evidence that 5G causes cancer. Clear evidence that it causes DNA damage. Heart and neuropsychiatric effects. Diabetes epidemic. A third of the population can get diabetes. Okay, living near a tower will increase your blood sugar. You walk away from the tower, your blood sugar goes down. Shocking information. 2.4 gigahertz, the actual frequency of the cell phones, is used to induce diabetes in rats for research. Okay. So people, say diets and carbohydrates and sugar. There's a whole nother thing these nutritional, biochemical people are not looking at. Okay. Wi-Fi, electromagnetic exposure. Mental health problems, suicide, violence, all this stuff. 5G has not been tested, and multiple exposures of EMF have never been tested. They're only looking at one phone next to your head and its heat thing. They're not looking at pulsating of the electromagnetic energy and all this stuff. So there's so many things that they just ignore. Okay, here's a little chart here of the penetration in a child to a 10-year-old to an adult of the radiation into their brain. Okay, I'm going to speed up a little here. Many studies have confirmed that it can cause cancer. Okay, here's more studies that there's been no study on, as I said, on multiple frequencies. You just turn on your Wi-Fi and you'll see all the Wi-Fi going through your building in place. No studies been done on chronic health effects of 5G technology. And here's some quotes. This has got to be the stupidest idea in the history of the world. You'll be essentially like living in a closed microwave radiation 24 hours a day. Increased risk of all these different types of diseases. Okay. They discovered that the body actually attracts 5G in the water in our body. And if you have a weak electromagnetic field, we're almost an antenna to it. And here's more health effects, which we'll get into. Okay, you never want to see this, and you never want this. If you have a child and you have what they call it, baby monitors or these electromagnetic games, I would throw them out. Or keep your receipt and send it back to the company. These are beaming the child electromagnetic radiation. And this is just so sad to see that. People think it's cute. Oh, say hi to grandma and put the phone to the head. Okay, use FaceTime or Zoom or something, speaker phones and that. What's the major effect? Oxidative stress. What's our major solution? Antioxidants. Very quickly, we know what it also affects your calcium uptake in your cells and all this other stuff. But oxidative stress is what ages us. So 5G electromagnetic radiation speeds up the aging process, aggravates all types of chronic diseases. Here's a list. I'm not going to read all this, but these are all the things that put out dirty electricity, and that's the wiring in your house. You don't want to sleep near plugs and all this, or you want to get blockages. I know in Europe you can turn off certain plugs and that. There's also companies. There's one company called Greenwave. You can buy filters and you plug that into the wall, and then you plug your lights and stuff into that, and that will reduce it dramatically. And you can test these things. Also, you can get a meter to walk around your house. One I like is Acousticom, we talk about in the webinars coming up. And you can just walk around the house and find your hot spots, and you'll know how to block or shield those areas. Video games, so these headsets, hair dryers, going to the beauty salon, put the hair dryer in your head, you're getting all this stuff. Okay, so oxidative stress creates free radicals, and that causes all kinds of damage to the body. And this is just more things. Anxiety, dementia, autism, all these different things, even depression. Okay, more slides about it. I'm not going to belabor the point. I think everybody gets the idea that it's bad for you. Okay, and here's some more things. Affects the brain, the respiratory tract, the eyes, burning, itching of the eyes, the skin, uh, creates cataracts and all that. We know microwave ovens in your house can increase your chance of getting cataracts. And all these arrhythmias. So you got this arrhythmia, and then you get drugs to stop it. And it's a big old mess. Okay, here's another one on there. I'm not going to read it. Everybody get these slides, and these are reference slides. Okay, so 5G is a biohazard because water absorbs it. So the rain dropping down to plants, and we're 70% water, and that's why another reason it's bad. And here's one more chart on hypersensitivity, and we just look at that as a reference. And I'm not going to read this, but I was going to dedicate this whole webinar to Jenny Fry, who actually suffered one of the first people we know of that are known allergy to Wi-Fi. This was in England, the Telegraph, the Mirror. You can click these and go to the whole story. Okay, every time she would walk near a router, she would get headaches and start crying and screaming. No one would believe her. And this is here where Channington and all this stuff. The tiredness, headaches, bladder problems, and all her symptoms were worsened the closer we came to why. This is so important to know. Okay, it's so important to turn off everything at night when you go to sleep. Okay, so if you put your Wi-Fi the furthest away from where you're at the most, and that is the most important. I put everything on a power strip, and I turn off that one power strip. It turns off everything at once. And here's just more on the article, and you can read this. It's kind of sad and all that. No one believed her, but now her parents are raising awareness of the electromagnetic hypersensitivity. Okay. It's also bad for the bees. And here's one website that actually did research on hive collapse. That's very important. 70–80% of all our food is dependent on bees for pollination. Okay, there's an Instagram, stop 5G, keep the bees safe. Einstein gave a prediction, you lose the bees, you lose civilization. It's that simple. Okay, so what are our solutions, right quick, and we'll wind up. Using understanding bioenergetic medicine, homeopathic remedies, the antidote to effects, grounding therapy, superfoods and tonics, qigong yoga therapy, nitric oxide therapy, which improves your circulation, keeping the blood flow, energy flow, antioxidants to neutralize that, also EMF shielding, and the number one thing of all is avoidance, if all possible. If not, you have to shield everything. Okay, so we quickly go through some of these. Keep a safe distance, know where your routers are, if you're in the office and all this and that. Okay, you want to have grounding mats. The most important thing is to be grounded, especially while you sleep and while you're on any computers. I'm grounded right now and my bare feet are on the grounding mat. And I've talked about this way back in 2016. I was telling people to get grounding mats. Buy EMF shields and put on your phone. You can buy these stickers that will go on your TV, your refrigerator. Educate yourself, which we're hopefully doing now. Protect your home. You can buy, there's blankets, there's things you can put in your windows, there's curtains, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there that you can do to keep safe. Okay, here's another list of things. Ditch the microwave. Okay, have anti-radiation, uh, uh, things for your computer and all this and stuff on your phone again. And well, I'll look at some of this real quick here. Okay, a negative ion generator is another good thing to have to clean the air. Okay, just some quick cell phone selfie. Don't support 5G phones. I guess eventually, maybe years down the road, we might be forced to keep your distance, not only from your phone, but all this stuff. Use speakerphone, wired headsets for voice call. I don't believe in putting those AirPods and stuff in your head to get wireless. Turn off data and Wi-Fi when you don't need them, especially the GPS. Text more like the teenagers. They got it right. Get shielding stickers to put on your phone. They cost $1. $2 to buy a sticker and all this. I tested this stuff. All my Qigong students, we've been doing it for years. Use airplane mode as often as possible, especially at night, or turn the phone off totally. Sleep distance away. Put your phones in other rooms and all that. I don't know what this really means. Try different forms of communication. It's going back to writing letters and stuff. Reduce your usage. You're going to be on the subway or something. Turn your phone off and check. Don't be checking Facebook and Instagram daily and all this stuff. Never wear your phone over your heart or breast. There's instances of breast cancer, heart palpitations, all this type of things have been proven. Computer safe usage, right quick here. Get a grounding mat for your feet and hands. Also for sleeping, as long as it's touching part of your skin, it will ground you. The number one thing I say is ground yourself. Okay. Now wired computers use Ethernet or fiber optics instead of Wi-Fi. They're faster than Wi-Fi and are totally safe. Don't use Bluetooth devices, mouse and keyboard. Okay. Oh, there's no wires. More radiation. Turn off Wi-Fi when you don't need it. Computer shielding. Okay. Use nighttime mode. That's often with your cell phone and your computer. The bright blue lights and that are very bad for your sleep cycles. Okay. Try different forms of communication. Reduce overall use. Unplug your computers. Even when it's plugged in, you're going to get some strong signal. Never, ever, ever, I'm talking to everybody, men, women, teenagers, don't put your laptop on your lap. Okay, I've seen so many cases, even in my own family, ovarian cysts, fibroids, endometriosis, dermoid cysts, all this stuff from years of using the laptop on the lap, sitting on bed, chatting with their friends online. You need to have a laptop desk and then a grounding pad on top, and you'll be fine. You can measure this stuff. As soon as you touch your laptop, you're getting 20 volts going through your body. Okay, if you have a grounding mat and your wrist is touching it, it's 0. And that's visible. You go right online and you can see the difference. What a difference that is. Okay, another way we're going to approach it in the upcoming webinars is through homeopathic remedies. Hahnemann knew about all this. He knew about electromagnetic fields and all this. He says the dynamic forces of mineral magnetism, electricity, and galvanism act no less homeopathically and powerfully on our vital principle, vital force than medicine that are called homeopathics. Okay, so we know homeopathic remedies can heal or disrupt, have very powerful effect on the human energy field and nervous system, and so does electromagnetic fields. Okay, he was big into this. Okay, very big. Many, many paragraphs about it. And magnets. He was big into people holding magnets and treating people with magnets. Here's a rubric we discuss in the upcoming webinars and the top remedies here. I think I have one more slide on this and that. These ones in red I've seen and used. How do you make cell phone radiation? Take some lactose, milk sugar, or sucrose and fold it around in a piece of paper. Tape it to your cell phone. Leave it on there for a week or two. Then take that off and titrate it and make a homeopathic remedy. You can actually make a remedy from your own cell phone or your computer. Okay, we find electricus, homeopathic. You can buy that in any pharmacy. 30C, 200C, 6C, 12C, all of it helps negate that. The magnetic pole, especially the south pole of the magnet, helps mitigate and lessen and treat the effects. Two big remedies, calculus carcinosin, you'll see for their sleep problems and chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia type of stuff. Oral metallicum for suicidal depression, and that you move, the Wi-Fi out of the teenager's room, they're not depressed anymore. It happens. Phosphorus and rhododendron, all throughout homeopathy, we've known these two remedies are most sensitive to electrical magnetic storms and all this, arthritis, all this. Phosphorus sensitive to everything, okay, electromagnetic. CBD, activated charcoal, all kinds of other things are also very effective, which we'll talk about next. Okay, so here's some superfood tonics. We don't have time to go through that. Hydrogen peroxide, Epsom salt, baking soda baths help get rid of it. Beets help improve your circulation. Activated charcoal will detoxify you. Pickle juice is the most potent form of electrolytes. Okay, these are some of my favorites, and these help your general constitution and also help protect us from electromagnetic radiation by making you healthy or in general. Okay, finishing up here, and again, and use antioxidants, and we're going to talk about antioxidants that balance the nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen in upcoming webinars. And this free radicals damages all parts of the body and just the aging process alone. So Wi-Fi 5G speeds up aging and aggravates and creates all kinds of diseases: Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, OCD, dyslexia, depression, everything. Nitric oxide therapy. As we age, our circulation gets worse. Okay, so Wi-Fi radiation will speed this process up. Okay, I'm in my 60s here, so doing qigong, taking beet juice every day, or all kinds of things can keep this open where you're at younger ages. So the whole science of longevity and protecting ourselves from 5G, it's the same science. There's no separate science. Okay, you get healthier in general, it protects you. There's just more things about nitric oxide and antioxidants. And there's also here, the last thing we'll talk about is qigong and yoga exercises. In the second webinar coming up, I give 3 exercises that take you 10 minutes a day. It will strengthen your electromagnetic field. Okay, qigong to me is the ultimate anti-aging and wellness exercise. It doesn't stress your body out. All this weightlifting and jogging and swimming and all this is a stress to the body. Qigong and yoga just enhance the vitality, strengthen the energy field, calm you down, clear your mind, improve your sleep. We want to go through life gently and smoothly, and we want to get strong. Standing meditations is the most powerful. Just standing with your knees slightly bent, your shoulders slightly forward, all this energy will build up after 10, 20 minutes, and it will start healing your body. The most powerful exercise on the planet is just stand and do nothing. Okay. Better posture, increased flexibility, balance, and coordination. We do everything on the right and left sides of the body. Sense of well-being. My qigong teacher says, you want to be happy? Practice being happy. You want to be calm? Practice being calm. Okay, you want to be miserable? Review all your bad thoughts and emotions. You'll be get good at being miserable. Okay, misery loves company. Hang around people that are down. They will help pull you down. Okay, what do we want? We want tranquility, peace of mind, happiness. All these things can be practiced doing Tai Chi, Qigong, and yoga. Okay, a gentle way, like Hahnemann says, we heal the body, gently and rapidly and permanently. Okay, so that's pretty much what I had to say about this. And Marcus, are you there?
I am here, Robin. Yes, thank you so much. Got a lot to take in there and a lot of information. And I think for a lot of people, it just sort of answers what they're fearing anyway of 5G and the whole sort of electromagnetic sort of pollution. Got a lot of
Right.
questions here, Robin, tonight. A lot of questions,
Okay.
and people please send them in because Robin's very wants to answer any
Yep. We
questions you
can do
may
some
have.
Q&A right now.
Okay. But do you want to talk about this two-part webinar series that we got coming up? Just so everybody
Okay.
know that this is recorded. This is not going to be live like tonight. These are Robin's already recorded two of these two webinars around
Yes,
the
I think I
5G.
have another slide on that. Let me see here.
Okay.
Yes, here it is. So one recorded webinar, we're going to talk about how to protect yourself, family, and pets. We go in more detail than just the outline I gave you. And actually, products you can buy, blankets and shields, and there's actually pendants and stuff you can wear that actually help neutralize electromagnetic field and strengthen yours. And this and things you can do in your home and we'll get into some super antioxidants, two or three of them, that helps with all the symptoms we talked about. And then we'll do a review. And on the second webinar, these are both a couple hours each. We'll go through those rubrics we talked about and talk about individual remedies and some of the symptoms, how to prescribe them, and things like that. And we'll be looking at some naturopathic things. And the last part of this, we'll be looking at Qigong exercises. Now we'll be doing a Q&A in another 4 weeks where I'll come on live and people can ask and actually see me and I do some demonstrations with some of this stuff. If people incorporate some of these things into their life for the next 4 weeks, then we can get feedback, especially 3 Qigong exercises that take 10 minutes that will strengthen your electromagnetic field. Okay, I've been teaching these for many, many years. One of the core practices of Qigong is to strengthen your Wei Qi field. So people practice these things, especially sleeping with a grounding mat and all these other Qigong things. Uh, we can get some good feedback from a lot of people. And then I'll review, all that we talked about and kind of summarize it and that. Okay? So we'll be talking about homeopathy, bioenergetics, herbal superfoods, yoga, Qigong for protecting yourself from this onslaught from outer space and from our neighborhoods. Inescapable, but I've been working with this for several years now, and I'm pretty confident we can get good results. Okay?
Yes, and Robin, just before we go on to, I mean, you mentioned about bees because this is the question that I've got is around bees because there's been a lot of issues we've had, especially in the UK and I think around the world, around bees getting sick or the lack of bees. I mean, would you say that's been down to the 4G? I mean, because we haven't really had the 5G yet.
Yeah, even the 4G, I talked about that. And the bees get disoriented when they're near electromagnetic fields or high tension wires. It's not just Wi-Fi. Don't forget high tension wires and the wire. They've seen, there's movies about this. A family living near high tension wires or towers, and they get cancer and all this stuff, similar to, the toxic things in people's water. This is an issue that's been around for decades. Like Dr. Goldberg talked about in that video. People didn't see that video. Please watch the video. We sent a link out to everybody and that. But the bees are sensitive. The migrating birds are very sensitive to it. It disrupts it. I put one link on that. A guy in Oregon, he's doing all this research. I personally, my wife and I, we have 3 beehives here, so we have a personal interest in that. But we live way isolated in the country, but it's a big issue for pollination. And a lot of people don't know this real quickly, that when the almond trees or crops in California, they have to bring big trucks in. You call them lorries, I think it is, full of bees. They bring 1 million bees in and let them out, and they pollinate the fields, and the bees come back and they drive the trucks away. So all our agriculture is dependent on it. Einstein predicted it, and that. So and there's one video, I think it's on Instagram or YouTube, showing a whole bunch of dead bees around a 5G tower in California. So none of that was ever researched. The industry doesn't care. They want to make all that money. It's It's all about money here, not science. Commercial science is manipulated.
Absolutely. Now we're getting a lot of questions about how much this course is. So for this course, this two-part webinar series, which is webinar 1 to 2 hours, webinar 2 to 2 hours, you can purchase that for £75 or $95. And if you go to the link there on the screen, bit.ly/CHE-5G, and if you press on that link, then you'll be able to purchase it. But also as well, if you're already a CHE Pro member, then this is part of your membership, and it's actually on your platform now as we speak. The technical team just said they put it onto the platform, so you can access it straight away. But if people want to join as a member as well, not only will you get tonight's webinar, but also you'll get all the CHE courses that we have. And we announced this, and many of you don't know what this is. CHE Pro was launched back in July for £19 a month or $24 a month, or you can pay annually. It's £190 a year or $240 a year, and with that you get over £1,800 worth of courses. A lot of Robin's courses on neurodegenerative diseases, cancer, the cancer series, Lyme's disease, as well as other lecturers, sort of Hilary Doreen, who's done it on the endocrine system and the bowel nosodes. Lots of other courses on there, and it's something that we wanted to serve the community. And it's worked really well. It's been very, very popular, and it's just an accessible way to get hold of this information, a low amount per month. So Robin, let's take some questions, because we've got a lot of questions here coming in.
I'm ready.
Are you ready for the questions? We may be here. We may be here for a long time. Okay. Let's have a look. So, which 3 Qigong exercises are you suggesting?
Well, we go in detail in them in all that, but basically there's some breathing exercises. Okay, one is alternate nostril breathing, which balances the autonomic nervous system. Another one is this shaking qigong that helps promote circulation and all that. And another is breathing. They're really simple breathing exercises, but I go in detail on how to do it, the benefits of it, and all that. And that's in the webinar too. I think we spent almost an hour, 45 minutes on that.
And Elaine is saying, so what can we do to protect the bees if we live in a residential neighborhood?
There's in webinar 1, I talk about there's all kinds of things that you can do. One, you can buy paint, electro shielding paint, and or you can buy these rocks that help protect it, or you can put shielding around the beehives and things like that. How can we protect them flying in the air? I don't know. But we can definitely, around beehives, or someone that has bees. The guy in Oregon did all the research. He had 0 colony collapse, and all his neighbors and all that. He has 100 hives. He had 0 colony collapse, and his neighbors and all of them had colony collapse, or the bees actually abandon or die, and all this stuff. So there's definitely things to do. Okay.
Okay, Rich is saying, what does the Shungite stone protect from the electromagnetic radiation?
I actually do a good 45 minutes or hour on Shungite and wearing the pendants and blocking electromagnetic, and you can use it as stickers. I have it throughout my house. I buy the stones, but you need to be educated on buying the right type of stone and make sure it's authentic. And one way is to take a flashlight and unscrew the bottom of it and take the stone and touch it to the battery. If the flashlight lights, you have real shungite. So I get in all that in detail in webinar 1. That's one of our biggest things. The grounding mats and the shungite that myself, all my Qigong students, we always are wearing shungite pendants and jewelry and stuff like that. So it's an amazing thing. It's a meteorite, 4 billion-year-old meteorite, and we get into all the detail and science. Astrophysicists and all this have studied this and its electromagnetic effects.
Okay, Manon's saying, what is the grounding mat made from, and how does it work?
The grounding mat can be made from any electroconductive material. You can actually go on YouTube and they show you how to make one yourself. Okay, so any type of electromagnetic thing, a cloth with silver threads in it can be one, but the best company and the ones that the most research is called earthing, and that. And all you do is you plug it into the grounding port into your sockets, and that will directly connect you to the earth. And you can even just put your feet on it, and it's a therapy. I get to show thermographs and x-rays before and after people ground themselves, and you see the improved circulation, arthritis getting better, and all these things. And sleeping with it is as if you're sleeping on earth. We are designed to be connected to the earth. Our electromagnetic field, when it connects to the earth, it gets stronger. When we're taken away from the earth, it gets weaker. Wearing rubber sole shoes and all this stuff, you'll see these little kids that can't stand the shoes, and the parents make them put shoes on, and they look at me, and I say, well, I'm with the kid. So we are designed electromagnetically to be connected with Earth. More than that, I mean, I give a whole lecture on this, almost an hour, but as you're on the grounding mat, you're actually getting negative electrons, which are positive, going up into your body, and the positive electrons, which are bad for us, are leaving the body. And these negative electrons we actually get from laying on the earth or lying on the beach and covering yourself with sand actually are antioxidants. Okay, so there's antioxidants you can take from the health food store, from superfood, but just grounding yourself, you're going to get antioxidants that goes in and neutralize all these free radical toxins that are going through your body and weakening your whole system and all this stuff. Big subject, and I go in detail on that.
Okay, Pamela's saying, thank you, Robin, for reminding us about these things. I'm definitely going to buy my family grounding mats. About bees again, a lot about bees, you see. Okay, hi, Marcus. This is from Kate. I'd really be interested in Robin's view on infrared saunas, please. Great information as always. Thank you, Kate.
I'm usually a fan of those saunas. I haven't tested any about the electromagnetic fields and all this stuff, but there is some strange, research about electric cars and affecting pacemakers and all this stuff. But infrared saunas, when I never have owned a microwave, but people say, well, what do we do without a microwave? I recommend these infrared stovetop ovens. Okay, and you can actually cook your food with it, and that is not as fast as a microwave, but it's regular there. One company is called New Wave, and I've seen good research on health on the far infrared radiation. I'm at this point I'm not against it, but I don't own one. I don't have personal experience, but some of my doctor friends do, and they swear by it, and that. So I think they're good at this point, unless I hear otherwise.
Okay, Christopher.
What do you call it? Hot water beds, I'm against. Electric blankets, oh my God, they're horrible. If you have electric blanket in your house, you never give it to children. You never give them to elderly people. There's research on they produce leukemia, blood disorders, all kinds of problems. And the more you use it, the chillier you get. Your body never generates that. Electric blankets are absolutely horrible. LED lights also, they cause depression and things. So just, be aware of these things.
Okay, Susan's saying, is solar power systems, are they dirty electricity?
That's a good question. So we're all into solar power, but there's two types of converters. Okay, the ones that have to convert, I don't know detail, AC to DC or DC to AC, those put off some powerful electromagnetic fields. The converters are the problem. Okay, and some are just go DC, DC or something like that. They're better. So do your research on that. And the ones that have to convert from one to the other give off more radiation. But then again, if it's in, a separate building or outside your house and you have shielding, I'm still, have to support solar energy. Okay. So in general, but you should be aware of that. And electric cars too. So if you have electric car, I mean, it helps the environment and all that, but you're going to need more protection because it's generating electromagnetic field.
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, what you just mentioned then about electric cars, because I've thought about this, especially like the Teslas and these increasing amount of electric cars on the road. If they are going to be utilizing 5G technology, then with all that battery as well, I mean, surely you're going to be getting bombarded within the car.
Yes, and that's the whole thing is, as Hahnemann taught us, perceive without prejudice. So we're all for environmental things and green technology, but we have to look at it without prejudice. Okay, so
Okay. So Gina's asking if taking a homeopathic remedy such as phosphorus to mitigate EMF, should we stay on that remedy long term because exposure will never go away?
if the phosphorus works, okay, it will mitigate the EMF effects and strengthen your electromagnetic field. That's the proof that it worked. And then you do the grounding and you do the shungite and you do some preventative things and shielding, and you should be fine. If the symptoms come back, headaches, ringing in the ears is a big one. Okay, eye strain's another one. If these things come back, then you would repeat that remedy like in any other case. But if that remedy works, it works by strengthening your electromagnetic field. But you have to do some stuff. Okay, you have to do grounding, and you have to do some of this qigong breathing, and these immediately strengthen your electromagnetic field. Whether you use a pendulum or muscle testing, you can see the field get instantly strengthened. It's amazing.
Okay, Xerxes says, "Hi, Robin. Thanks for another brilliant lecture. What are your thoughts on non-stick pans and which is good, safe, and which is a good or safe company to purchase a good cooking utensil?"
Non-stick what? Oh,
Pans.
pans. Pans, we say. uh, we use granite pans now. And we researched all these. We went through every one of them. They end up cracking and peeling off into your food. The worst is don't get Teflon, but the one we're using now is granite. Granite pans, non-stick pans, and we love it. And I found no bad research at this point on it. But we've seen no problem with it because all your kitchen counters and stuff are granite. It's very hard to disrupt the granite, and it's very heat resistant and stuff like that. It's in the pyramid. They knew it and lasted for thousands of years. The granite just doesn't deteriorate. And I was shocked to see it. I mean, people go from Teflon to another one and then the copper and all this. But I'm using granite now, and I'm using infrared oven, and we just like to research all this and share the information.
Okay, Geraldine's saying, "Can you please explain the issue with LED lights?"
That blue light is causes depression and disrupts your melatonin. And actually, you can turn on one flash of the LED light and your melatonin will disappear. You don't want any LED lights in your house. Now, we can say what we can about, the U.S. government and the present leaders of our government. But yesterday, I'm glad they asked this. Yesterday, President Trump revoked, canceled Obama rule or law that because you go in an American store, there's no incandescent lights anymore. There's only LED. And I said, well, what's that all about? Well, Obama passed this thing for environmental. A lot of these environmental things are not good for you. Okay, and we have to be as green as we can, but we have to admit the truth. And I'm saying, I go into the hardware store, where's the incandescent lights? I want the old-fashioned lights, the yellow one. And they said, well, it's against the law to sell them now. And yesterday it was reversed. So now they're going to bring back the old ones. The old ones are healthier and safer, and we've all been adapted to them. LED lights suppress growth hormones, interfere with your circadian rhythms, it'll cause depression, headaches, similar to fluorescent lights. And those fluorescent lights, I said one slide, that's the little curly lights. All the environmentalists are saying how much money you save, how long they last, and then they have mercury in them. So we don't see them anymore. And I hope LED lights go away too. So they're very
Okay.
bad to schools and children and babies, very bad.
Okay, Janet is saying, "Hi, Marcus. Can you ask Robin about Bluetooth navigation and telephone in cars? I feel they're lethal and causing a lot of accidents."
Yes, Bluetooth in general. That's why I said clearly, Bluetooth keyboards, Bluetooth mouse on your computer, get rid of them. It's safer to hook things up directly. Okay, in the cars and in that, if you have your phone, hook it to USB or stick it in a lighter with a USB connector, and that's way. Don't go this wireless anything. Okay, wireless earphones are bad. Have an old-fashioned earphone with a wire connected right to your device and all this. We get into some detail on that in webinar 1.
Okay. Robin, there's after that about the cooking pans, got quite a few questions about that. There's people saying, don't, Linda's saying, don't granite worktops give off some kind of radiation. Also, I've heard that, JM is saying, I've heard that granite emits radiation. Is this not true?
There's been some that gives off some amount of radon, I heard, not radiation, but I haven't looked at the research. So we can all look at that together, and in 4 weeks, anybody comes up with some more information about it, let us know, because I'll throw
Okay.
mine out.
Okay.
But they work great.
Mona's saying, what's wrong with stainless steel pans?
Stainless steel pans are good, but the iron pans aren't. And the
No.
fact that you see the rust there, showing that that gets into your food. Hahnemann was one of the first things to talk about iron, and I've been talking about it for 30, 40 years, that don't take iron supplements unless it's from the plants. Best to get your iron from grape juice or blackstrap molasses or treacle and all this stuff. But iron pills are as toxic as lead and mercury, and it causes miscarriages, it causes all kinds of problems, anemia, everything. So iron skillets that rust, and you have to, those are very bad. Stainless steel is okay. Okay, that's all
Okay.
we have is stainless steel and, the granite pans.
Okay. Amy's saying, how can you tell what is good shungite product online if you can't test it first?
You can go on the websites and see the reviews, or you can go on YouTube and see people testing it. The one company, Carillion, from Russia, they're on Amazon and all that. We tested all their products, and they're reliable. Okay, or you just
Okay.
buy one thing, a sticker or thing that's 1 or 2 pounds or dollars, and you see if it passes it. You can also take a laser thing off and that, and then touch it, and it should light up. We do all these in my classes here in Virginia. People love it. So in the next Q&A live one, I can show you some stuff on, live, right? Because you'll be seeing me personally and Marcus.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sabine saying is again about granite. Granite is loaded with radon. Quartz is better. Um, what does Robin? We'll take a couple more questions because we've nearly out of time. But what does Robin make of having painful electric shocks when touching metal, and what remedy is appropriate to stop these shocks?
Phosphorus is your number one remedy, and I believe there's a rubric called electrocution, but and also I put a rubric in the repertory for electrosensitivity, and that was that whole slide I showed you. And that some people are just hypersensitive, their lives are ruined. They touch a car, they touch anything metal, they get a shock. Grounding these people is your number one treatment for that. And some people will carry pendants or amber in their pockets or other stones, and they can touch something and not get shocked. And it's amazing, one little thing can affect your whole, one little rock that you can hold in your fingers, can affect your whole electromagnetic field and strengthen it. Now, I used a pendulum to test all these things. I found no scientific evidence of why a pendulum works, but I've done it over and over, and I'll do some live next time we meet. And if you take a battery out of a flashlight and you put the pendulum over the positive part, it will go clockwise. You put it over the negative part, it will go counterclockwise. You go over any device in your house, refrigerator, cell phones, anything that's not shielded or has a sticker on it, all of it goes counterclockwise. You put it on every person. I was in Prague. We did 100 people, a couple hundred people were there, and everybody goes clockwise. Okay, so a human being has a clockwise energy field. Okay, all our electrical stuff in our environment and our cell phones and everything have counterclockwise fields. I can find no physics of explaining that. But you put a Shungite sticker on that, they cost $1, $2. You can buy 10 at once sometimes, and immediately that phone will go clockwise. So we're not saying we're blocking it. We're saying we're neutralizing it or harmonizing it more to our energy fields. And that's a big step. People are saying they sleep better from the grounding and wearing the pendants or the jewelry. They got rings, they got earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and all that. But we like the pendant right over the chest and the heart and lungs and that, because that's where your field is being generated and that. You wear
Okay,
one, don't you, Marcus?
yeah, I do. I wear one, absolutely. Um, so just one last question from Helen. Our local school is about to erect a 5G mast on top of its roof. Any ideas on how best to stop this happening?
Uh, yeah, that's a
Give
local
us the
issue.
address. We'll be down there. We'll be down there in numbers with our placards.
Yeah. Refer people to that article in the Mirror and the Telegraph about Jenny Fry and what happened to her and all this, and show the research, especially that industrial versus non-industrial research. But it's going to be very hard, very difficult. The schools are under such pressure to keep up. And if you read that article about Jenny and her school, and they said they can't function, they will have no students, all this, excuses in general. But protect your child. They can, if they don't want to wear a pendant, they can just have it in their pocket. They can have things in their lunch bucket or whatever, and sleep grounded. At least you get dissipated every day at night. Sleeping grounded is the most important because you're getting 8 hours. You're clearing everything that you accumulated all that day. And that's probably the most important thing. Next thing is wearing things and then having remedies and taking these antioxidants and things like that. Okay. And even these qigong things, you can teach your children to do them. They're really fun things. It takes 5 minutes. Put on a 3 to 5 minute song, and you do the head shaking or the breathing through the nostrils, and it's very simple stuff. And that also resets your nervous system. So
Okay. Greg, actually, Helen, Greg's just posted, said 5G mast, check out Empower Movement notice of liability to CEO of 5G companies. I've put it in the chat. We put it in the chat box there, so you can see it
but
below.
there's also clothing. There's also hats that help reflect it. I talk about aluminum foil type of things. You wrap aluminum foil around your phone, you will receive nothing, no calls, no radiation. It's zero. You're in an apartment building where 5G is coming through a window. Take a big piece of cardboard and wrap it in aluminum foil and put it up there. Okay, when you're sleeping or something like that. There's curtains you can get. So people are being aware. There's a lot of products out there.
Yeah, well, Mona's also saying parents should approach their school governors, especially those who have children at the school. I think yes, it's just got to be in the,
Right, right.
you
It's an
know,
uphill battle.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so actually, just one last question. This is from I can't help it. Cherie saying, I actually found that the earthing grounding mat made me feel less grounded and caused insomnia. Can you speak about that kind of experience?
Yes, that means you usually need some other homeopathic remedies to straighten out something. So that's a opposite effect. So also you should try grounding barefoot outside in that. And I think when your general energy field gets healthier, then you'll have the more positive effect. Okay. But you're the only person I've ever heard say that. I had one,
We've had no, yeah, we've had somebody else actually said about it on one of the messages as well. But from
and
experience, I mean, I've slept in one for the past 2 or 3 years, and I get the best sleep ever, with
yeah,
that grounding mat. So
yeah, and that usually there's Dr. Klinghardt. He talks about we went to school together, Dietrich Klinghardt, and he talks about our electromagnetic fields being switched. And I believe this is what's happening. Okay. And the alternate nostril breathing, some of these Qigong things and the remedies can switch it back. And he actually did all this research on it. It's funny, we went to school together, 30 some years ago. We ended up working on the same thing. And he says, if your electromagnetic field polarity has switched, you can get these paradoxical reactions. But try barefoot and all that. And make sure your grounding port is active. When you order a mat, they also give you this little plug-in thing that has orange lights. You plug it in, that shows you that plug is grounded. And if you live in a different country, you might have incompatible plugs and things to your plugs. United States is on 60 hertz. Europe is on 50, and then Asia is on a different one. I sent grounding mats to Hong Kong and stuff several years ago, and they didn't work. They had to get some adapters and things like that. So there's all kinds of different things you want to look at.
Okay, Robin, I have to ask you one last question from Joy. What about the Beamer mat?
Yes, I've tested the Beamer mat. It's positive. I'm a big supporter of the Beamer mat. It always goes clockwise. And this is very interesting. I didn't want to get, promoting, technology, but it's also called BEMER, BEMER, Bioelectromagnetic Energy Regulator. I have one in my house. I do it every day. And that's why I said electromagnetic therapy on one of the slides. This is a positive one that does one thing, okay? It promotes microcirculation, and that by stimulating that electromagnetic field, weaker than the Earth signal, ends up stimulating the release of nitric oxide. And the same as drinking beet juice and some of these breathing exercises, we have all the science on it promoting that. And that's what collapses. When you don't get this energy flow and the capillaries flow through open up and flow, we get 13,000 different diseases. And just to show one last little comment, these capillaries in your body are 1/10 the size of a human hair. Okay, so one red blood cell can go through at a time, and they go through real sluggish and slow. Okay, and if you open them up, and this is the biggest organ in our body, and 99% of all allopathic and alternative therapies ignore this, the microcirculation. In your one person's body, if you tied all these capillaries together, it would be 75,000 miles. It will go around the earth 3 times. If you open it up as a mat, the square footage, it'll be the size of a football field. This is how big that organ is. So all your oxygen, nutrition, all that is there. So all the Beamer mat does is open up those capillaries and allow healing to take place. I'm a big fan of that, and I've had one for years. I've visited the companies in Europe and did all the research on it. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Robin. I mean, we could go on and on. There's so many questions, but we have to spend about 14 minutes on questions.
Yeah, no problem.
I'd just like to thank you, Robin, for giving up your time today for this free webinar with all the information. So a big thanks from all of us for today's webinar. I know a lot of work goes into these webinars, and
yes, I really enjoy it. I mean, I don't enjoy the topic, but I enjoy being able to share that, and I hope people will do some of these things and listen to other webinars and get back with us in the 4 weeks, and we can have some more Q&A.
Okay, well, we've got messages coming in. Thank you, Robin. Brilliant information. Richard saying thanks to both of us. Sherry says thank you both so much. I really appreciate your time and expertise. Mona says thank you both for a very informative webinar. I didn't do that much. It was all Robin, but I did do the question and answers, I suppose. Many thanks, Melinda. Legend. You're a legend, says Lee. You're a legend. Thank you very much from Dart. Thank you both. Thank you both, Robin and Marcus. Thank you, Robin. And thank you, yes, and like I say, everybody, you'll get a copy of this recording within 24 hours of the event, so you can watch it again, and a copy of the slides as well. And I would obviously highly recommend you listen to this course, because we need to be not only arming ourselves and our families, but also if you're a practitioner, things that we can share with our patients. Because just like what Robin talked about tonight about the bedroom, that many people are sleeping with a cell phone next to their head at night. The amount of patients that I have, I ask them about if they've got sleep problems. Do you sleep? What's in your bedroom? And people say, oh, well, I need to have it on. It's my alarm clock. But your brain is getting blasted every time that cell phone is trying to connect to the mast. It's having a huge effect on the electromagnetic field. So I think it's such invaluable information that we can share with our patients as well as our friends and ourselves and our families. So thanks again then, Robin. And hopefully we see you all again when Robin does a Q&A in I think it's going to be October, and we'll be sending the dates out.
Yep, sounds good.